One of the easiest things that you can do to make high profit when you're flipping a car is by simply detailing the engine bay. But even though that sounds all fine and dandy, what happens if you don't have access to a hose? Then what? Well, luckily for you, I actually came up with a way that you could detail the engine bay without water, and you could actually do it in under 5 minutes. Let me show you what tools you're gonna need. First thing is just a scrub brush. Next thing is just some microfiber towels, or really any type of towels like this that you can use. Then you're gonna use some Chemical Guys VRP, and then just put it in a bottle like this, a spray bottle, where you could just put in like 10% Chemical Guys VRP and mix the rest with water and just shake it up. And you're also gonna need to have some type of degreaser like this. I use Purple Power, it's a pretty cheap one. You could also use anything else basically. And yes, of course, I did record this after the fact because I forgot in the moment. But let's get right to it. What I'm actually going to do is do it in real time as well. I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. I'm only gonna give myself 5 minutes of time, and I'm going to be doing this whole process so you can see exactly what I can do within that 5 minutes. So we're gonna start the timer now and just get to the job. All right, so first things first, I'm just gonna start spraying every single thing down. This is using that Purple Power spray. I just put it in the bottle, nothing crazy. But I mainly just wanna really try to get, especially all the plastics. That's going to be the primary thing. I will say you're probably gonna give yourself a bit of a finger workout just doing this. Probably by the end of at least this minute right here, you're gonna be a little tired. But that's really the main thing, just taking like the first minute to just cover everything. And I will say you don't have to be cheap with this stuff. Like Purple Power, it's honestly really cheap. Even that big thing that I got, I think I only got it for like 10 bucks or so. It's really not much for it. So there's really no reason to be all scampy with it. As you see me keep switching up the hands. I will say, as a quick thing, if you see any type of electrical connections like these on the side, you can spray around them. You don't want to spray directly on it, especially things like the battery terminal and stuff, just to be safe about it. All right, now we just passed the minute mark. Now I'm just gonna take that brush and start brushing over everything. And of course, the main things that you're really trying to cover are the areas. And actually, let me just try to cover a little bit more of this as well. Kind of missed a spot right here. And as you can see, I didn't really get that electrical connection right there too. But I'm just gonna pass by that. And now I'm just gonna try to scrub everything down the best that I can. And this is primarily just gonna be to really raise up all that dirt. You don't want the stuff just kind of sitting there. And of course, if you wanted to, you could if you wanted to do it the longer way, and the best way technically, it would be to use one of those like tiny detailing brushes so you could actually get into all the cracks and crevices. But this is how you do things really quick. You know, if you want to if you don't have too much time to get the job done, but you still want to just get the detail out of the way. And especially if it's days like this where, you know, the weather has kind of been crazy recently. Like right now, it's actually close to about to rain. I'm trying to get this job done really quick so I can still sell these cars. If you haven't seen, it's actually a part of my flipping series. In the next video, you're gonna be seeing the whole process with that. But it's just part of where I'm flipping $1,000 to $100,000. And this is one of the cars that I'm doing it with. But that's the main thing. I'm just trying to go through everything, cover primarily the plastics. That's the way, like the main areas that just look pretty dirty over time. I got a little bit more time. Let me just try to spray a little bit more on the sides here too. And here. But these are really the main areas that, you know, if you just leave it as it is and you don't scrub it down at all, it's gonna look pretty dirty. So you don't wanna just leave it like that. We just passed the 3 minute mark. So now we're just gonna come back with that microfiber towel and just simply start wiping everything down. Now, of course, if you did have water, I'm just gonna say this right now, if you did have water, that's technically going to be the best way to do this clean. But again, not everyone will have access to water, realistically speaking. You know, either you might be in like an area, like a city area where you just don't have access to a hose. A lot of people are like that. Sometimes it could just be where, you know, you don't even you're not even in an area where you could get access to a hose like that. And some people, they're also just really afraid to use a hose and actually put water around the engine bay, which I definitely get. You know, it could be a bit of a scary thing actually using it like that. Because really, if you do it wrong, you could actually damage the engine bay a pretty good amount. You know, like the last thing that you want is to end up getting some electrical problems. And now the last thing, as we're finishing up, it already looks a good amount better, as you can see. But the last thing is just coming, oh, well, let me go back to that. The last thing is just coming behind with the chemical guys, VRP. And all you're gonna do is just kind of spray over everything with the light mist. You don't wanna go crazy with it. If you go crazy, then, you know, it's just gonna give it like a really off look, but you're mainly trying to go over the plastics. That's like the primary part, those black plastics that you see here. And just try to cover it all. Now again, this isn't gonna look perfect after it's all done, but it's going to look a lot better than how you first got it. And I mean, if you can do this and potentially even just get an extra couple $100 from the car that you're gonna be selling, I would say that's still a good deal. But boom, we actually just kind of passed the 5-minute mark, but this is how the results are now. All you're gonna do is just let it sit. That's it. You're just gonna let it sit as it is. I'd say just give it like around 10 minutes or so, 10, 20 minutes. You can even turn on the car if you want, just to make it dry off a little faster. And then just come back to it. And then after you come back, you're gonna see that everything is just popping a lot more. And this is how things are looking the next day after. Of course, again, just being real is not going to be completely perfect. If you really look into it, there's gonna be a little bit of dirt there. But coming from what it was like before, and just really giving that first impression when someone pops open the engine bay, which basically everybody that's buying a car will do, when they pop it open and they see that the engine is kind of shining a little bit like this is gonna be huge. And again, for only 5 minutes of your time. And if you did find this video helpful, I did also put together a full masterclass training on how I make $5,000 to $10,000 per month flipping auction cars, and how you can too. If you want access to that, just go to the link in the description below. But that's everything. Try to make some more money flipping those cars, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.